Right, well, one of my predictions is about to come true. In the last film, I told you about exit polls. Well, guess what? The Independent has just published this EU referendum. Why is there no exit poll? Right. Exit polls are general election run for the BBC, ITV, and Sky. They have a reputation of getting results right. The polls work by asking people how they voted at sampling points across the country, basically when people come out the polling stations. However, there will be no exit poll published when vote at 10 p.m. when voting at the EU referendum closes, because the broadcasters have no way of knowing how accurate it would be. Professor Curtis and his team couldn't do what they usually do because the last referendum to compare with was 41 years ago, and there wasn't an exit poll then. Whoa, that sounds a bit strange. Why can't you just... I thought it was about asking people. It says that some financial institutions have commissioned exit polls. Right, well, I'll tell you why there's going to... I'll tell you. No, listen to this. Look. Section 66 of the Representation of the People Act 1983 prohibits the publication before the close of poll of any forecast, survey or estimate of how people have voted. This includes postal votes. Right, well, you know what the real reason there's no exit poll is what I said yesterday. They don't want the media publishing that the exit polls gave a really definitive lead for leave, and then get an official announcement that Remain have won, because it just wouldn't be credible. People wouldn't believe it. Supposing, for instance, that Leave were 20 points ahead. Leave were forecast to say they were going to get in at 70%. They were going to get 70% of the votes. Okay, according to the exit poll, everyone would be going, great, everyone would be waiting for a Leave result end, right? Then, we've counted up the votes. Remain have got it by 2%. It wouldn't work. People would smell a rat. People would understand. I mean, already people are suspicious, but this would make them even more suspicious. It just wouldn't be a feasible claim to make, which is why they're not allowing exit polls, because they want the results completely in official hands, so that no one is going to say anything. This is why the BBC keeps publishing these polls that say it's virtually neck and neck. That way, that if they choose to commit fraud and rig the election, rig this referendum, you can't really prove them wrong. Hospital Porter's pride and dignity stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. It is the evening of Wednesday, the 23rd of June, 2016, and I'm recording this currently at 7 p.m. I'll be recording some more parts of this video as the evening progresses and into the early hours of the morning. And this is the second part of this. I suppose this vote leave series that I've done. There'll probably only be two. The first one, of course, link in the description box. Excuse me. If you've not seen it already, just watch that for a bit of background. But basically, this is the second part of that, and I'm going to go into a few more details of things that have happened today and things that have been going on to do with this Brexit Leave Remain referendum vote business. Okay, so I'm going to start with comments. Now, the video I uploaded before, Vote Leave, the first video, the precursor to this one, was very popular. It's had a few hundred views in just the space of 24 hours and lots of comments, and I want to go through these comments and answer them rather than writing them. I'm going to answer them live, as I do with the UFO disclosure videos. Now, the first comment I had was from someone called Cymro, who has a Welsh flag as their avatar, and Cymro means a Welsh person in Welsh. So they're like me in that sense. Now, why I am voting Remain. I am firstly Welsh, then British, then European, and finally a citizen of planet Earth. I'm not threatened by others of a different culture than my own. We need each other, whatever race you belong to and whatever religious belief you have, we are all the same. We have had relative peace in Europe for over 70 years, and although it is not perfect, we owe it to our children to work out the problems and strive towards a better future for all. Isolation never works. I understand that people want change, but reacting to fear by cutting ourselves off from the rest of the world will only make it worse. Vote Remain. Change the system from the inside. Don't give in to fear. Be positive and stay strong. Well, Cymro, well, to go into this, right, I'm not threatened by others of a different culture either. I like the fact there are so many different cultures in the world, and different races, creeds, religions, etc. And that is why I'm opposed to these superstates, which impose uniformity on people. And we know from dating back to Richard Coudenhove von Kalergi, the architect, in a sense, of the European Union, and Jean Monnet, a few years later, said something similar. We know that the entire purpose of the European Union is to destroy all these different cultures and races and religions, and it's all part of an agenda to make us all the same. Okay, and we're not all the same. You say we're all the same, we're not, and that's a good thing. Sure, our differences can generate conflict, that's inevitable, but it doesn't have to lead to war. It doesn't have to lead to we can live together on this earth without invading and displacing each other, without invading each other's territory and displacing each other, okay? But being in part of a federation will not make war less likely. As I explained in the video last night, which did you watch all of it? One of the worst wars, for instance, in the American continent, the worst war they've ever had was the American Civil War. 1.8 million people altogether. I mean, the actual figures vary, but it's at least 1.8 million people died. Most of them civilians, and that's far worse than casualties from World War I or World War II in the United States put together. The American Civil War, the war between the states within the nation of the United States, was far worse. Now, with isolation, see, when I'm not talking about isolation, all right. Leaving the European Union does not mean isolation. This is in a sense. You're polarising here, which is what a lot of the Remain crowd are doing. They're saying it's either you're part of the EU, or you want to build a seawall across the English Channel and never. No, this is nonsense. Britain has always is a nation which lives in close proximity to others and has had relationships with them since prehistoric times, and there's no reason why that shouldn't continue. And it says here, cut ourselves off from the rest of the world. No, I'm not. We should not cut ourselves off from the rest of the world. Leaving the EU is not cutting ourselves off from the rest of the world. As I've explained, as the people in the Vote Leave campaign have explained, we can interact with the rest of the world as an independent nation. We don't have to be part of this pathological superstate. Change the system from the inside. Well, that's great. The problem is, Cymro, a lot of people say get into the system to change it from the inside, but the system changes you. This is why you get politicians who start off as decent people and they end up becoming corrupted. But thanks for your comment anyway, and I appreciate being a remainder. You decided to post on a Vote Leave video, so well done. I always invite open debate of other people's opinions. Jato Bito, Cameron probably visited the local Hog's Head. Yes, he did, or maybe the other end of the hog. I've got a feeling he fancied a spit roast. Take that either way you like. An outlaw in-law said, the Joe Cox staged event, check the evidence. Well, yeah, that's what I did. I mean, in the video I actually explained a bit about the Joe Cox murder. I mean, we can laugh at David Cameron here, but are we dealing with a man who would actually kill someone, who would actually murder a young mother, a mother of 2 children and a wife, just to generate a few headlines for a week? If that's the case, then why do you think he wouldn't rig ballots and things like that and commit fraud? The Wanderer says, I am a Scottish nationalist. I don't see any point in apologising for that. I love my English and Welsh brethren. Nice one, Wanderer. My wife is English, and all I know they know their own business. I only wish to say that I agree with the Porter. I find his logic very compelling. Long live the Porter. I'm voting for Brexit. I'm voting for Brexit. Thank you, Wanderer. Me too. Brackets, it will all be rigged. Well, yeah, that's something I'm going to come on to, because I think you're right. And Wanderer also says, I wish to leave. Long live the Porter. Thank you. I think he means me. Dofer says, Brexit, not stay. and stop the New World Order. 69 now. It looks like 69 Phuket. Phuket. Is that a Phuket? Phuket. Oh, it's a place in Thailand, isn't it? Now he has sent me a YouTube link. Let's have a look. Sparks the Future. It's a 1975 video. Oh, very good. I'll have a look. Sounds very good. I'll probably play that on my radio show. Thanks, Phuket. Afjib Matt said agreed. So yeah, so that's good. I'm glad. And Outlaw In-Law also says, who is in the EU? The referendum, D-U-M-B, is a distraction from what you all should really be focusing your energies on. It's a decoy. When were you and your families ever given the choice to be part of the community in the first place? Well, I see your point. I think what you're suggesting is, I think distraction is too strong a word. But obviously, and as I explained, and I will explain, this is just in a sense, there is a superficial element to the EU referendum. And I know very well that the outcome of this referendum will not necessarily be, it's not going to be the end of the world if it goes Remain. And it won't be hooray, we're finished, we've achieved everything if it goes Leave. All I'm saying is that if it's preferable from a strategic point of view if it goes Leave, because it will throw a spanner in the works which we can exploit. Bill 9999. It summed it up perfectly, Ben. Thanks, Bill. Stephen Bamber. Hi, nice to see you again, Steve. Not seen one out guy giving out leaflets. Loads of Muppet Inns. Yeah, I mean, this is it, Stephen. I mean, I was out at work today, right, and I was just walking between jobs, and there was a whole crowd of these bloody people with T-shirts saying "Stronger in, stronger, we're stronger together." And they were like knocking on people's doors. I think they were checking whether they voted or not. And it's like, and they smiled, and said hello, and I said hi, and I thought if they come up to me and start preaching, I don't know, say something, I really will. But yeah, I've seen a lot of those. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any of the Leave crowd, because basically the Leave crowd have been operating on a shoestring budget compared to the Remains. Excuse me. 69 Fuck It says again, Thomas Mayer, I believe, was subject to standard mind control. He wasn't linked to any far-right policies. It was hypnotism advice. Why don't you turn off your TV and go and do something less boring instead? That reminds me of a children's programme. Oh, why don't you? What? Of course, yes, it was a TV show. I remember that when I was a little kid. What the hell? And there's another link here. Mary, Mungo and Midge. Oh. Yeah, I remember that. That was Why Don't You? It was a thing that they used to play in the school holidays. Why don't you go and turn off your TV and go and do something less boring instead? Thing is, though, I switched off the TV and I didn't see the rest of the programme. Right, another blonde. Hi, another blonde. I know another blonde. She lives near me. I've seen her a couple of times. Keep up the good work, Ben. I will. Thanks. Hey, thanks, another one. Goon Love. This is an invasion of Europe. If we don't take control of our borders, the UK is next. I'm not racist, but this is taking the piss now. Merkel wants to be bloody shot. Brexit for me. Goon Love, you're absolutely right, and I'm not racist either. And it's not. Calling people racist. This is why they chose. This is why they're trying to put all this fake evidence on Thomas Mayer. They want to say to you, look, if you support Brexit, you could be called a racist. And you'll say, I'm not a racist. And they say, oh yes, but look, our top government psychologists have sort of looked into this, and they've looked in. They've done a little bit of a testing, right? And right, you know, deep within your playful, boyish exterior and your smiling stuff, all right, your smiling face beats the heart of a ruthless Nazi fascist thug. And I say, look, Ben, you've got the skinhead already. See, you're halfway there. And I'll go, oh no, I don't want that. And so you become scared of yourself. You become scared of your own thoughts and feelings. You become to doubt your own morals, your own sense of your own moral sense of self-worth. You see, this is what's worrying. So yeah, so you must not feel guilty about being concerned about things like the invasion of Europe. And I'm going to talk more about that, because this is what I'm going to talk about the upcoming European Civil War, and why it's another reason for us to get out of the EU. It's because when this civil war breaks, it'll be a lot more easy for us. Edwardian Lady says, I couldn't agree more, Ben. There are dark times ahead. I'll be voting Leave for all it's worth. Well done, Edwardian Lady. An outlaw in-law. Oh, another comment from outlaw in-law. Thank you. For those who want to stay in La La Land, look up the Lisbon Treaty Article 50. It is the exit process. Now, this is another point that I brought up. The actual referendum, this is another point. Even if it goes to Leave, I hope it will, because if it goes to Remain, it's just that, you know, it's just going to, it'll all be over. But if it goes to Leave, the actual it's not legally binding. It has to be. This is what Cameron didn't tell us when he announced the referendum. This is what he didn't tell us. He didn't say. He didn't mention this. But once the referendum comes back as Leave, what's going to happen is, oh, okay, we leave the European Union, and Cameron goes, oh, hang on a minute, it's not that simple. We've got to run this through Parliament, get them to ratify it. We've got to run this through the EU Commission, get them to approve it. You see, and then but then I hope it'll go to Leave just simply because it'll be so transparent. I want to see this happen because it'll expose them. You see, this is why we still need to be. We need that Leave result, because if it's just Remain, that's the end of it. Oh, it's all right. The people have chosen, right? But back to normal, everybody. Come on. But if it goes to Leave, we'll have a chance to see all this. Right, Jamie says, check out the date of the referendum and look up what it means in KGV I made on a vid on now. It means spiritual death, and it's obvious to me that they think the people are in fact stupid sheeple, and they're correct for the most part. I was chatting to someone last night and she was saying she's voting Remain like an idiot. Always check the couple of vids I made about the referendum on my channel if you let me know what I think. Well, Jamie, I'll have a look at those. Because this is user Jamie DUK 999 videos, right? So yeah, he just put up a couple of videos about this. Now, in terms of the date, 23rd. I mean, numerology. That's 2 plus 3 is 5. It's the June and it's 2016. So I mean, I'm not an expert on this sort of thing. I was interested in the fact there was a full moon on the summer solstice. That's the first time that's happened since 1948. And I was interested in whether that was significant. So I asked someone who knew about astrology, and they said it is significant. It is when the full moon falls on the summer solstice. It is a major. It's very powerful. So that means that hopefully it'll. I mean, I keep an open mind when it comes to astrology, but I'm not an expert on it. Same with numerology, so I appreciate the comment. And Jamie also says after that, good timing, I just voted to leave the EU with an X with a pen. Well done, Jamie. Carl Munford. With all the lies and emotional blackmail aside, the choice before us is simple. Either again a parliamentary democracy whereby we can kick out any government that has forgotten the mandate it campaigned on and replace it with another answerable to the people, or we replace it with a government answerable only to that bureaucracy in Brussels whom we never voted in. Can't remove and regarding the law are untouchable. Now that's true. I mean, as far as parliamentary democracy goes, kicking out any government, well that's another hurdle we've got to overcome, because it's not as simple as that, but we're definitely far better off with our national parliamentary democracy than we are with, as you quite rightly point out, the bureaucracy in Brussels that we don't vote for, we can't remove, and is untouchable by the law. An outlaw in-law, hi, hello again. In regards to the referendum, every member of Parliament, MEP, is in a conflict of interest and is a perfidious fraudster by default. How come no MP or MEP is talking about the fact that people, not legal entities, were not given the choice to be part of the European community in 1972 because Heath and Co signed the Treaty of Accession, Treaty of Rome, and the use of the legal fiction and royal prerogative, bypassing Parliament and the will and consent of the people, not legal entities. So because of this, the people are not under no lawful, legal or moral obligation to accept or stand by any of the treaties, directives, regulation that emanate from Brussels. That is very true, and I mean, this is in relation to the Freeman on the Land information, which I take very seriously. I'm certainly not a citizen of the European Union. I will not do what anyone says in Brussels. No way. So, yeah, I'm a free man. Now, GJ Beto says, "Pig shagging bastard." Nice one, Ben. Yes. I think I was too kind on him now, I think. Now, that's me being polite to David Cameron. Adam, fantastical book reader. Hi, Adam, again. I'd like to thank you for making the videos for us to watch. I know so much effort goes into making them. They're all appreciated. Thumbs up. Thanks, Adam. Thumbs up to you too. Glad you watched them. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I really am. So thank you very much. And I think you put another comment on there somewhere. I mean, you said again, so I'll find the other comment. Here's the other comment you made. I'll come to it in a moment. But Philip Cale first. Cahle, Cali. How do you pronounce that? Kahle. Ben, when are you going to burn that shirt and tie in a ritual to the future? Or does it have more value than rubbing the noses of those that fired you? Oh, my porter's shirt. Yes. I'll think about it. I'll think about that. I think it's an act of defiance that I. Well, look, it's not. Firstly, it's not mine. I borrowed it. Technically, it doesn't belong to me. Although the person I borrowed it from has not asked it back for over 2 years, so I can't destroy it. And secondly, I think it's an act of defiance, simply to have it there. That's why I do it. Now, Adam, as Adam says again, this was Adam's first comment. This is very interesting, Ben. I feel you are totally right in most of what you pointed out in this video, particularly your insight into the murder of MP Jo Cox, also her alleged killer sketch from the court, etc., etc. To be honest, I mean, looking at the court sketch of Thomas Mayer, he looks a bit like George Galloway. I think I've got another conspiracy theory coming. I don't think we will ever know the truth, because everything we are told us is from the people that want us to stay in the EU. Exactly. The government, the British government, which is not British and is not a legitimate government. It's a European. It's an arm of the European Union. Cameron is a traitor to the nation, and he is an agent of the European Union. I don't think we will. And there we go. I don't think we'll ever know the truth, because everything. Perhaps he did actually kill her. Who knows? But it could have been because they did something to him. We will never know the truth, unfortunately. But it does seem, as you mentioned, it was a clever setup to capitalise on their secret agenda without anyone knowing the vote was rigged. Obviously, after the corrupted referendum results per se, etc. Regards, Adam. Yeah, I mean, whether we'll find out the truth or not, I don't know. I mean, to this day, Sirhan, who's been in jail since 1968, he denies shooting Bobby Kennedy. He says he doesn't remember. He knew he was in the hotel kitchen in the Democratic Convention, but where Bobby Kennedy came through. But it's all blank after that. Now, according to the official story, Sirhan pulled a pistol out of his pocket and opened fire on Kennedy. We know it's not true, because there's sound recording that shows so many bullets being fired that there had to be more than one killer. But Sirhan then says he doesn't remember any of it. And funny enough, Mikhail Mikhailovich, Sirhan and Mikhail Mikhailovich, it's funny that, isn't it, they have those names. He doesn't remember stabbing to death Anna Lindh. Anna Lindh was the Jo Cox of Sweden, who a week before the referendum on the euro, again a young, attractive, very popular MP, woman of the people, pro-EU like Jo Cox. She was stabbed to death by this guy Mikhailovich, and he doesn't remember doing it either. So, well, you can either believe that's a coincidence, or you can do the sensible thing and question. I think that I've been looking at some videos on YouTube of users who are not really into conspiracy theories, and they are suspicious over the Jo Cox thing. This has kind of red-pilled them in the conspiracy theory thing, I think, you know. Galtron 3000 says, 3 choices. A, remain in the EU. B, leave the EU. C, burn Parliament to the ground and lynch every pedo in there from the streetlights outside. Well, of course I'd choose C, wouldn't I? Legal disclaimer, this video is not advocating any form of violence. Okay, but when you hear about what these people are doing, it's like the things they do. I mean, the problem with these pedos in Parliament and the things they've done. I mean, I think hanging them from streetlights is not appropriate. It's not good enough. It's not a bad enough punishment. I can't think of a bad enough punishment which would be fitting for what they've done. I really can't. Daniel Bostock says, Stefan Molyneux is a hero of mine along with you. Yeah, he is great. Good on you, Dan. Yeah, Stefan Molyneux is a fantastic YouTuber. And you listen to his radio shows on SoundCloud as well. Free Domain Radio it's called. And he talks about, I like his political views, his political analysis and things like that, are the best ones. But he talks generally about other subjects as well. He's kind of an anarchist philosopher type person, and he's really, really interesting indeed. He's got no respect for political correctness. He's very, very opposed to political correctness. He says what he feels like, and he doesn't care if people demonise him, because you've got to be like that in this world. Beetlejuice 1. Hi Beetlejuice, nice to see you again. The EU is like money. Everyone has to accept its existence because other people recognise its existence. If everyone stopped spending money, it would have no value. Same as the EU. Just ignore it and it will go away. But I agree, a big Leave vote would send a good message. So I'll be voting to leave, and I don't care if the door dose hits me in the arse. Good on you, mate. Good on you, Beetlejuice. Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, as I said, the voting Leave is, for some people will be satisfied. If Leave wins, they'll be celebrating. I'll be celebrating. And then they'll sort of think, we can relax. No. That's just the first stage. There'll be much more to come, and I'll talk more about that later. And nice 69 fuck it says again, I don't know, we're in an LGBT society apparently. Get your kit off bed and ride a cock horse to Banbury Cross. Rings on your fingers, rings on your toes. Ye shall have music wherever ye goes. iPhone zombie prediction. I'm not sure I understand that. LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, which is the politically correct term for anyone who's, what's they say, walks on the other side of the streets, likes their eggs sunny side up. You know, all these, you know the various other nicknames. Personally, I don't give a damn about anyone else's private life. That's their business. But I'm not going to get my kit off Phuket, I'm afraid. I'm not indeed. And Phuket says again, oh, hello Phuket, or fuck it, 69 fuck it, whatever you are. It's an emotional vote. I'm a big sceptic of voting, because the deal was done, therefore a sham. But we'll go there and get the smelly old schoolyard experience. I'll vote Leave because all the evil shysters like Blair, all the millionaires like Beckham, and the crying Branson. Do you remember the days of the old schoolyard Branson? And of course that Bob Geldof. Oh, God. That bloody scene he created on the River Thames the other day was sickening. I mean, and on the boat beside him was Joe Cox's husband, apparently. But yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for him. I mean, obviously he has my deepest condolences. But Geldof, I know he lost his daughter. That's very sad. But he's still a knob. He's still an egotistical tool of the elite. He's friends with Bill Gates, friends with Tony Blair. Oh, God. Know a man by the company he keeps. Slagging off the fishermen he was, because the fishing industry has been hit the hardest by the EU. Just watch the film Brexit the movie. Alright, and you'll see the fishing industry has been devastated by EU regulations. And I just hope one of those fishermen on the Thames who were protesting, I just hope they had a particularly rotten, smelly bloater with flies buzzing around it to throw at Bob Geldof. Mr. Hellface. That's a good name. Joe Cox was the sacrificial pawn. It's not spelt like that. So it's P-A-W-N. It's a homophone, I know. In the campaign's last roll of the dice, how did a nutjob on the police watch list get hold of a fucking gun? What a joke. Well, Mr. Hellface, you're absolutely right. She was a martyr, as I said. She was an EU-supporting MP. And at her funeral, her husband, who I don't blame, I don't think he's in a state of mind to actually understand anything right now. He said that she died for her political beliefs. This is echoing Cameron saying that this was a political assassination. Again, because of nasty old people like me who channel our inner Hitler and come out and shoot MPs because we don't agree with them on the European Union. It is nonsense. And as for the gun, I mean, I don't know how he got the gun. I mean, You can get guns if you want them. But the point is, I mean, the point is there's so many other dodgy pieces of evidence connected with that man, Thomas Mayer, which I talked about in the last film. And yes, she was sacrificed just to generate a few headlines. That's the kind of people we're talking about. And she's not been off the front page since that happened. And it's, as I say, it's this deep emotional manipulation that goes in. It's not like saying the political rhetoric, you know, the Project Fear, as Boris Johnson's quite rightly called it. It is about. I've just got to remember I just got to make a note. Yeah, that's something. Excuse me one moment. I've just got to remember that. Yeah. Right. Sorry. I just wanted to get that down because I don't trust myself to remember it. Yeah, she was basically used. She was killed. I think there's so many dodgy things. We should be more than suspicious of what happened to Jo Cox. I hope the truth comes out and she gets real justice. Maybe when her kids are grown up, they'll do. You know, they'll want to know how their mother died. And I'm sure there are lots of people who will help them if they want to investigate about what happened to her, and maybe her real killers can be brought to justice. Oh yeah, and yeah. I just hope it doesn't work. That's all. I just hope it doesn't work. You see, there's been the opinion polls. You see, there's been so much. I mean, I came across this thing in the Daily Express. Brexit bombshell. Poll puts at least 7 points ahead of Remain hours before the referendum. Hooray! But then the bloody Independent. That was the Daily Express. But then the bloody Independent. Where is it? I'll find it. Hang on. Because this is important, guys. Because where is it? Oh, it's down here. Here we go. EU referendum, Independent. Final popular survey shows Remain ahead of Brexit by 10%. It's 10 points. So who do we believe? Who do we believe? I was so pleased when I heard that that Brexit was 7 points ahead. Then I hear that they're not. It's the other way around. Oh dear. When was that published? Actually, here we go. No, it says 16 minutes ago. Oh, it can't be 16 minutes ago because I read that before. It's been edited. That's all. Yeah, that's wrong. Anyway, so I mean, it's all, like I say, it's up. I believe, and I'm going to be doing more on this later. That we're going to have to watch out for dodgy dealings here. And then he wasn't a nut job. Says he was made one. Yes, exactly. I think he may be. I wonder if last time he was in psychiatric care, he had some kind of maybe some secret treatment somewhere. John Charles says, yeah, indeed, my friend, accurate observation. I wouldn't be surprised if people who are in psychiatric hospitals can be meddled with. And then the trial, of course, he'll go to prison for life. There'll be a trial, a lot of publicity. And he was rushed down to London in court next day and not in the judiciary of Leeds. That's true, he appeared in magistrates' court in London. That was odd. Very strange. Right, Stephen Bamber again. Hello. Hi, Stephen. The whole voting thing's a sham, but if you're going to take part in the sham, best vote out, because a vote in is a vote for a new world order and the end of Britain. That says it in a nutshell, mate. An outlaw in-law says, stop with the generic dear viewer, thank you for the comment. What's this? He's commenting. This is a comment that was put off after I just informed people I was going to be speaking. I will be replying to it on a video and be uploaded. Right. When you reply to a comment, I don't need you to do a video on what I've shared, as many already know. And for the ones that don't, they should do their own research, of course. Thank you. No, outlaw-in-law. I'm going to carry on doing this. Okay. This is the easier, simpler, and better way of answering people's questions, and I will put a generic comment on the video. I mean, I don't see why that irritates you so much. You want to be a slacker, you know. Stop disagreeing with me. Stop disagreeing with me. I'm in a bad mood today. Carl Munford again. The Hotel California. What's this? It's a comment. Welcome to the Hotel California. That was a song, wasn't it? The Eagles. Alright, here we are. If UK leaves the EU, France will no longer check migrants at Calais, roll out the red carpet of British banks to relocate, limit our access to the single market. Well, at any other time, this would be called blackmail. Well, I call that sort of thing blackmail. I think we're going to see more of this. Actually, come to think of it, we're going to see more of this. If we get a leave, okay, they're going to try and use things like this to try and maybe give us a... Ian R. Crane was talking about this on my radio show. They may allow us to leave for a short time and then bring us back in under new rules, because it's, you see, it's that's a big subject. But I've got a feeling there are going to be some difficult times ahead if we go leave. Well, not as bad as if we stay, but if we leave, definitely. Philip Cale says there are only two options: vote to leave or revolution. Yeah, well, eventually, Philip, yes. It's going to take more than like just putting a ballot in a box to save things. Oh right, an outlaw in-law says EU is Rome. Yeah, Jesuits. Now this is interesting. This is a big subject, but the influence of the Jesuit order and everything. Interestingly, Tony Blair is trying to become president of the EU, and he converted to Roman Catholicism. He was a Anglican, I think, and then he converted to Roman Catholicism. I agree. This is Jamie again. I agree. Voting is rigged. What people should do is use pen, and also after it's been counted, it should be returned back to us for verification that it hasn't been tampered with. And if it has, then we can report it as a miscount. Well, that's interesting. Now, I do think that we should be allowed to order a recount if we want, because it's unfortunately once the ballot's been posted in, you can't identify it again with the person who put it in. That's the notion of a secret ballot. But there should, I think there should be the means to, I think there should be the means to actually order a recount if we feel that we need one done. Right, 69 fuck it again says there's 6 replies. It's a long thread here, only 6 replies. The only way to change gov.com is by pitchforks, clubs, rocks, or whatever ordnance we can procure. Just saying. And he says lots of rope and trees. Dan Bostek says I think it will come to that if we remain. I'll just deal with this first. Well, firstly, legal disclaimer again. This video does not advocate any form of violence, okay? But history has shown that sometimes pitchforks, clubs and trees and rope have been necessary. And there's no other way. I won't say any more about that right now, but I'm just saying that if we are faced with the emergence of a one world dictatorship, we might be faced with a choice. It's either the pitchforks and ropes and trees or the one world dictatorship, and we'll have a choice. We can fight or we can die. 69 fuck it. You're being rude now. Who you being rude to? I think you're joking now. Oh, he's joking. He's just saying, you big fat ugly wart. You gret useless spawny eyed parrot faced wazzock. Ropes and trees. We need more trees. Rocks and fire are free. If we remain or not, makes no difference. You know that he's joking. It's all right. You are a soldier of saviour. You keep your news. We all love it. I don't know what that means. Sorry. And there's unknown videographer. Hello. I agree with you. He's a bit of a twat. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, Biffa. Oh. So I don't quite follow all that, but thanks for the comments there. And thank you all for those comments, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate them. And feel free to comment on this video as well. I'll get back to you probably just by commenting on the box, just by writing them out. Okay? Because I don't think there's going to be another, whatever happens, I don't think there's going to be another section in this. There's not going to be another vote leave video. But thank you for commenting. Right. The polls have just closed. It's now just coming up to 10:10. Now, what I'm going to do now, I should point out, is I'm about to leave Oxford Town Hall, and I will take the camera along and I will show you what's going on there. I don't know how much I'll be able to find out, but I have here another camera. It may look like a pen, but it's actually a tiny camera. I've got to thank a couple of people actually for giving this to me to use on making these productions. That's much appreciated. And well, I don't know if I'll be able to get in, you see, because it's all been very furtive. I mean, I think you want to be a registered member of the press, but I don't have a press card, but I just say Ben Emlyn Jones, UFO Truth Magazine, because I'm a journalist in that respect. But I wonder if that will get in. Now you're going to ask me about my own vote. Well, right. Unfortunately, it didn't go according to plan. Now what happened was, they made us all re-register. Do you know they had this thing about registering, and you had to register by a certain date. And that's funny that not many people in the conspiratorial world have picked up on that, and I didn't either. But why do they have to make everyone re-register? I mean, presumably they think that will benefit the Remain side, otherwise the government wouldn't have made us do it. But anyway, you know, I remember the time when I destroyed my passport and I said I had no statute or identity. Well, I didn't want you guys to think too badly of me if I kind of went back on that a bit. So I re-registered using my national insurance number, and I pressed the button, and it seemed all right. But then I got there. I got to the polling station today, and they didn't have me down. So presumably something went wrong, unless the GCHQ decided they didn't want me to vote. God, I've had an awful thought. Supposing the Remain side won by one vote. Oh God, then you'd know who to blame, wouldn't you? You'd know who to blame then, wouldn't you? Yeah. But this re-registering thing, I mean, I imagine, maybe because I think old people won't be able to do it, or people who don't use the internet, because, so it's all more working class old people. The people more likely to vote leave are finding it harder to register. Maybe I assume it's something like that. They must think it benefits the Remain side, otherwise they wouldn't do it. Now I found out when I was talking to Ian R. Crane on my radio show last night. If you haven't heard it, there's a link in the description box so you can listen to the podcast of my interview with Ian. There's a thing called the Kalergi Prize. If anyone's in any more doubt about this thing, about this whole Kalergi business, you can check it out. There is a Kalergi Prize. This is Richard Coudenhove von Kalergi, the man who essentially came up with the idea of the EU. It's almost 100 years ago he came up with this pan-Europa movement, which really triggered it off. Jean Monnet was one of his protégés, one of his disciples, and Jean Monnet was the architect of the Paris Treaty, the Brussels Treaty, and those other things in the 1950s, which basically created the modern EU. So there was a distinct link, and as Sargon Akkad has pointed out, you know, the EU is a nation state. It is a political federation every bit as much as the USA. It has the government, the bank, the national anthem, the whole thing. So the Kalergi Prize is always awarded to anyone who does the most to destroy independent sovereign statehood of nation states, to destroy their culture, their race, their language, everything associated with them that makes them the people that they are. They get a Kalergi Award. Angela Merkel has got one, of course. So has Peter Sutherland. I have a feeling that David Cameron is going to be shortlisted now for a Kalergi Prize. So what happens now? That's the question. And to be honest, I don't know. I really don't. But I mean, of course, the Joe Cox murder. I mean, how effective has that been? I mean, these sort of things can backfire. In the case of Anna Lindh, the Swedish politician who was murdered in the same way a week before the crucial referendum on the euro, it didn't work. The Swedes still refused to take the euro, and to this day, they still use the krona to their credit. Will it backfire in the same way for us? I hope so. I do hope so. Another bright bit of hope, I mean, despite all the contradictory opinion poll stories coming out of the papers, how many of you saw the debate at Wembley the other night before last? Now that was excellent. I mean, the Leave side absolutely eviscerated the Remainders. They really did. They were much more powerful. They were more positive. They were more optimistic. Hopefully, that will have had an effect on the electorate. I do hope it will. I do hope it will. I mean, I did see a BBC poll that seemed to put Leave slightly ahead, but as I said, you know, this is sort of thing. I do, like I said, I keep seeing these Remainiacs, these Remain campaigners all day today. I was seeing these buggers going around knocking on doors. I didn't see many Leave people. Maybe I should have done. I'd like to have got involved with the Leave campaign myself. I was just doing so much else. That's the problem. Where'd you start? I mean, I had other things to, you know, it's like, if I'd done that, I wouldn't have been able to do some of the other things I did. And and then you get into these old issues. A Stain called. She told me that she was on the bus into Nottingham and she saw a group of young people carrying a massive EU flag and waving it across the damn Trent Bridge. The big bridge over the River Trent in Nottingham. And I thought, oh God. I mean, it's frustrating. It really is that these people are so in love with their own servitude. They're so desperate to sell themselves into slavery, into bondage of a giant dictatorial empire, just because of a few scare stories in the media. I'd like to just burn these flags. The funny thing about burn them. The funny thing is, there's been a couple of demonstrations when people have tried to burn EU flags, and they haven't been they've had trouble getting them sort of lit. Apparently, the EU flags are treated with a fire retardant substance. Now, it's interesting because, of course, there's lots of regulations about keeping things from catching fire. Material, you know, textiles have to be treated to make sure they don't catch fire too easily. There's strict, they have to go through experiments. Now, apparently the EU flags are, because the EU is so strict, the EU flags are particularly highly treated with flame retardant material. Now, I suspect that has more, you know, people will say, well, that's good, they don't want these things catching fire and doing damage, but I suspect the real reason for the double fire retardants on EU flags has another reason. Looking at these, thinking of what a Stain, I never saw these guys, obviously it's what a Stain told me, but they're kind of like these people going along celebrating the EU. It's like the people in Ireland cheering when the Lisbon Treaty was accepted, in another dodgy vote. But there's different kinds of people. Now, I'm going to sound a bit arrogant here, and maybe demeaning of other people, but there are distinct types of mindset among people. Some psychologists call them the K-type and the R-type person. I call them front-footers and back-footers. Now, back-footers are the people most likely to vote Remain. Back-footers are people who, when they come across a situation, when they're in a situation, they think, well, how can I preserve this as it is? How can I prevent it from changing so that there's no risk to the status quo that I'm in? And so it's back-foot. They're reactive. They're always reactive, and they tend to sort of like reactive, yes, is the word. They react to things. They cope. They're copers. They cope with things. Their aim is to just avoid hassle and cope as best they can. I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't know whatever kind of. I'm sure all of us are kind of a mixture of these R-type and K-type, front footers and back footers. But I want to be a front footer. I'd like to think of myself as a K-type person. K-type front footers, as I call them, are when they come across a situation, they say, "What can I do to change this to make it better?" Front footers are creative. They're forward-looking. They are they're explorer. They want to explore. They want to build. They're not satisfied with what is. They want to improve it. They tend to be more adventurous. And I think the front footers are the people who are happy to vote Leave. The people who are as Boris Johnson said, and I'm all right. I don't trust Boris Johnson any more than you do, but he did say in the debate, the Remain side is all about fear. The Leave side is all about hope. If it's a piece of rhetoric that works, good. Even though I doubt if Boris Johnson's being sincere. I don't trust him. I don't trust George Galloway either. Nigel Farage is, I don't know, prefer him to the other two. But so that's the thing. I mean, that's the question. I mean, do you sort of support? Do you react from fear? Oh, we're going to have less money. We're going to be worse off. We better surrender. As I was saying earlier when I was reading out the comments, we better surrender. As when I was saying during my Boudica moment, we can't fight back. We have to just let them do what they want. It'll make it so much easier for us. They'll be gentle with us. They won't come down so hard on us if we just do as they tell us. I don't want to be like that. I don't believe I'm like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to one of the 382 counting centres around the country. There are 382 of these, mostly town halls, headquarters of cities and counties, and basically this is where the poll. Right now, the boxes are being dropped off. The boxes which supposedly were the ones which people put the ballot papers in, supposedly. And they're going to be counted. And what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to go to Oxford Town Hall and I'm just going to have a little snoop around. I've decided if no one's going to monitor this election, I'm going to have to do it myself. I'll do as much as I can. I can't do anything without other people doing it as well in other areas. Obviously, this is just one of the 382 counting centres. Also, I can't stay there all night. I can't. I've got to get to bed. I'll tell you why later, but I've got to get to bed. Now the good news is, right, people are thinking conspiratorially. It's very widespread. The concept of possible electoral fraud has become very widespread. It has become very, very mainstream. It's really taken off. It's gone viral. And there's a use pens, hashtag use pens on Twitter, or use pen, has gone viral, and it's even been picked up by the papers. What I was telling you earlier about writing, not using the pencils, but using an indelible implement like a pen, a biro. That is, a large number of people are taking that seriously, which means they're taking the concept of the possibility of the government are going to rig the election seriously. They're thinking conspiratorially. They understand. They don't trust. Apparently there's some video on there actually. A woman outside a polling station was arrested. She was arrested for handing out pens to the voters going in. And they called the bloody police. She was handing out pens, they called the fucking police. And this policeman came up and confronted her. Pens, handing out pens. Pens are contraband now. That looks like a Class A pen to me you've got there, madam. Do you know it's an offence to possess a Class A pen with the intent to supply? So, use pens, oh god, hashtag use pens. So, how about that, eh? That's good news. I wonder if anyone else is going to be down at that town hall with the same idea as me. I don't know. But I've got no real plan of action, because I don't know what's going to be there. I don't know if I'll be able to get into the building. If I do, I will try to gather some footage with this. If I manage to gather footage with my hidden camera, I won't include it in this film just yet. Okay, so if you're expecting to see hidden footage from inside the town hall, should I get in there, or if I pick up anything else incriminating, you won't necessarily see it. The reason is because it might have possible. If I do detect the possibility of fraud of some kind, the footage will have legal implications. And for that matter, I won't necessarily publish it straight away. It depends on the circumstances. What I'll do is I'll contact a legal advisor. I'll share it with some of you privately, those of you I trust and I know, just to let you know, just to get your spin on it as well. But I won't be including it in this particular upload. So right, I've got to head for the town hall. I'll probably get there. What's the time now? It's coming up to 10:30. I'll probably be there by about 11, and I'll be able to spend some time there, and then I'll come back. So
Let us proceed to Oxford Town Hall to check it out.
Okay, I'm walking up the high street. This is Oxford here, ladies and gentlemen. The dreaming spires and all that sort of thing. I'm approaching the end of the high street where I turn left and approach the town hall. It's time to switch on my hidden camera. So, here we go. Take it off my shirt. So I press that for 5 seconds. The lens is sort of there. There's an LED light here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now it should glow blue, and that means it's working. If it glows blue, it's working, right. I'll put this back hanging on here. This will record everything secretly in case I need it. It's very still working, yes. Glows blue means it's working. Hang on, let me put this down for a moment. Hold on a second, I need both hands to do this. Oh, won't be a sec, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Oh. Okay, so let's carry on up here. I don't know how the details of elections. I know that the ballot papers are taken from the polling stations in all the areas under security guard. I know in Ireland they use the police, the Garda, now the Gardaí. Now I should have looked more into this actually before I did this move about what actually is involved in elections. I know that the counting people, the people who do the counting, are local people who do it voluntarily. I think they get paid a small amount, but they just work voluntarily on election day. And so they're not sort of officials or anything. They're just ordinary people who agree to become electoral, I can't know what they call them, electoral counters. They probably have some fancy job title. Blue light's still on, it's still working. If it gets to a point where I need to work covertly, I'll switch off this main camera and just go by my pen camera. I've seen a few specimens along here of a local piece of local wildlife. There's some more of them. They're called Homo studentus alcoholicus, otherwise known as your standard Oxford students out on the piss. So there's Carfax Tower up ahead. They're getting you a free tour, you Americans and other tourists who've never seen Oxford before. You're getting a free tour now. So it's about 11 o'clock, so the count should be underway. The question is, at what point will they add there's several ways that electoral fraud can be carried out, and one of those is the use of extra ballot papers. So this is what I believe happened in 2007 with the Lisbon Treaty referendum in Ireland. There's distinct evidence that was gathered to suspect that, okay, this is the town hall here, that the Gardaí, the police, were actually bringing in extra boxes of ballot papers for the yes vote. Here's the town hall, but that's not the entrance we're going through. Okay, I'm just gonna, it's a grand old building here. The count's probably going on in the main hall. I'm just going to switch off the camera now and just see what's going on here. Okay, I'll be back to you in a minute. Right. Well, I've just been in there and it's quite surprising. I'll tell you about it in a minute. I'm just going to have a little walk around the sides, okay? Because I've got a feeling that, see, this the main facade of the town hall is on St Aldate's, but there's this little road here called Blue Boar Street. It's named after a pub called the Blue Boar, which is one of the oldest pubs in the country, and it's got really low ceilings because it's such an old building. Now that's the Museum of Oxford, but there's some side entrances here to the town hall that which you might possibly. I don't see anyone strong. I want to see if there's anyone strange hanging around. This is one of them. No public entrance. I think that's what it says. Anyway, I can see through a gap in the window. There's a gap between there. Can you see? Don't know how much you can see, but I can't. There's a corridor, some green stairways. Okay, going to carry on here. I think that's where homeless people sleep. Alright, that's locked up. Yep. Nice solid lock on that. There's a couple more of these little entrances around here now. That's shut. What I'm specifically looking for. Yeah, that's right. It's locked. There's some strange people hanging around, looking suspicious. The extension of the town hall stands on land. Oops, we're almost out of film. I'm just going to have to stop filming and right, just delete. I thought I put the new chip in. Never mind. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to carry on now. There's a rather noisy pub along here. This is an entrance. I don't think this is the town hall. It's number 5 something. Blue Boar Street. Blue Boar House, Universities and Colleges Christian Fellowship. Now we're away from the town hall now. In conclusion, I say there's a bit noisy here. More drunk students. Now I'll just wait till we got past this noise. That's it. Now, that's it, I think we've gone past. Okay, I don't see any suspicious activity going on there, to be honest. These things you've got to be wary of. I was looking for strange people hanging around. This is what happened during the Lisbon Treaty referendum. Large boxes of Gardaí cars dropping off, extra boxes which no doubt contained pro-Lisbon Treaty votes. But there's other methods of electoral fraud as well. You can actually alter the ballot papers, simply rubbing out the cross and putting on another cross on the other side. Now that was prevented, hopefully, by the Use Pens campaign, which I myself suggested and went into our viral hashtag that even got into the media. The police were called to, as I said earlier, to apprehend somebody handing out pens. Terrible criminal offence. And that's another method they can use. Another is, which is what Chris Everard spotted went on in Scotland, which is to actually, is after the actual votes have been collated into different categories. Now, where are we? Yes, that's Oriel College. Now, where am I? Oh, no, I've got this way. Go on to the high street, what the hell. After they've been categorised into different boxes, the method is to move those boxes from the holding area, because once they're counted, they're put onto a table to indicate whether they're whichever they vote for, whichever party it is, whether it's a yes or no, which was leave or stay, etc. And a technique then is to move those boxes from the table where it says yes to the table where it says no, or leave or stay, etc. In the case of the Brexit referendum, it will be something like moving leave votes onto the remain table. So anyway, that's another method they can use. There's various others, but this sort of thing goes on all the time. It's not a secret this sort of thing goes on in fledgling democracies and etc., etc., tin pot dictatorships in South America and Africa. Sometimes it's even more blatant. I mean, I've heard of acts of electoral fraud when a nation will call a free election. This has actually happened, I can't remember where. Will call a free election and they'll issue the polling they'll issue the voting cards. You go in, you get your ballot paper. It's only got one option on it. That's actually happened. They called a free election. There's only one option on it. Of course, here in the West, we wouldn't use anything so blatant, and most electoral fraud is not that blatant. But what surprises me is that nobody suspects, nobody really takes seriously the possibility that electoral fraud could be committed in Britain, except now with the use pens, the use pens hashtag. I'm absolutely delighted that there is this use pens hashtag. Not because necessarily that is the method of electoral fraud that would be committed, but the fact that people are aware of the possibility of electoral fraud. So that's absolutely wonderful. Now I'll tell you what happened. I went in the town hall, went into the entrance. Everything seemed pretty normal. There was a guy in a suit, smartly dressed black man, acting as security, and he said, hello, good evening. I said, oh, is this where the votes have been counted? I just said it like that, is this where the votes have been... And he said, I expected him to say something like, oh, are you authorised to be here, sir? Have you got a press card? Is your name on my list? Or something like that. I expected him to say something like that, and he didn't. What he did was, he just said, up the stairs, sir, on the left. So I went up the stairs, and there's some areas were roped off, and there's like one of the side rooms. I don't know if you go to Google and call up the floor plan of the town hall, the upper level of the town hall, you go around to the left, and there's a couple of little rooms that are used, you know, judges' chambers and things like that. One of them was set up as a refreshment stand, and there was a list of names next to numbers, and this of course is... Hello. I can't, sorry mate, I haven't, sorry, I'm alright, and there was a name of a person and counting team 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I think it was 6 to 9 or 9 counting teams, and these are the counters and where they were being allocated to counting teams. So they split up into teams, and there was like a refreshment stand where they of course get tea and coffee and stuff like that. Then I went back and I sort of like nipped round the side of one of the ropes, and now ahead of you up the stairs is the Great Hall, and that was where the count was being done. And I'm surprised. I walked straight up to it. There's three entrances to the Great Hall. There's a middle bit and 2 side bits, and I managed to go right into the side bit and walk all the way up along it. And walk in there, and what it is, there's rows of tables with people sitting there, and they've already started counting. The big black ballot boxes sealed with plastic tapers were in the middle, and they were being counted, and the people were there counting them. You know, as you've seen in the news, people counting tapes. There was all kinds of people there, young, old, all dressed in normal casual clothes, just normal people who volunteered to be these counters. And I went up to the other side, and there was loads of people. What I thought was strange was that the people, not the counters themselves, but a lot of the officials around the outside, they were all wearing Remain badges with Remain slogans on, like I'm in, or stronger together, etc, etc. I didn't see one vote leave sticker anywhere. And then just, well, my secret pen camera's still working. And then I went to the middle. Now the middle bit is different. There's these desks arranged around the Great Hall in like a big square, and there's no gap through them, so you can't get into the middle bit. And the middle bit can only be accessed by the third door, which is the middle door into the Great Hall. And you can see through there, and you can see, and it said authorised persons only, white security tag bearers only. And there's this guy there in a suit who's obviously a security guard, and he's there to sort of like obviously check people's tags, and you've got to wear a white security tag to get into the middle bit where the votes are being counted.
So it seems like they do have. You can actually go and just watch the votes being counted. Honestly, if I had time, I don't know if it's worth actually what I could learn from staying there all night. I think going around to the side entrances and checking those was more important. But I just went up to the security guard and I said to him, hey mate, how's it going? And he says, all right. And he says, I can't come in here, can I? And he said, no sir, you must have a white security tag. And I just said to him, hey mate, you haven't seen anything suspicious happening tonight, have you? And he said, no. He said, keep a close eye out. I said, we wouldn't want anyone tampering here, would we? And he said, no sir. We don't want anyone tampering. So I said to him, I sort of give him a wink as if to say, I myself am open to the possibility that such a thing might happen. So I said, keep an eye out for things, mate. I said, keep an eye out. Just a bit of a trivia. I'm now going over Magdalen Bridge. Now this was the bridge that you saw if you watched my St Helena Airport film. I'm actually going over that bridge now, and I'm gonna cross over Angel and Greyhound Meadow Island. So if you look at, you can't see anything because it's dark, but that's where I was the other day, filming St Helena Island, just over there in the dark. So I'm glad I did that. I mean, that's I'm not sure what else I could have achieved unless I perhaps stayed there all night just watching, but I can't do that because I've got to get up. I've got to get up at 5 because I'm going to Scotland. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So I'm going to go home. I didn't see anything odds there. I just mentioned the security guard to watch out for suspicious things, unless he's in on it, unless he's part of it. But it's a bit difficult. So I'm going to go home now. Right, I am home and I'm watching the results, and so far at what's the time? 11:47 PM. 823 votes remain. 19,323 votes. 32 votes remain. Leave 823. Remain 19,322. They must have just got the people from the. They must have so far just got people from local. I think this graph they look pretty much the same. Oh. Gibraltar votes to remain. This is going to be very, very tense, and I can't stay up and just sit here and watch it because I've got to sleep. I'm now home. I'm home from the town hall, and I've got I've got a very bad feeling about this now. I just really have. I'm not naturally a pessimistic person, but it's just it just seems like everything's gearing up for Remain. It's almost like the pound breaks 150. Yeah, they 52% Remain, 48 on a day poll. That's YouGov. 84 MPs signed a letter urging the Prime Minister to stay on after the vote. Oh, God. Oh, David, we can't live without you. Please stay. Anyway, I've got some footage with my hidden camera here. It's been very, very useful. I'm sure it'll come in handy again. Have a look through that to see what's there, what's not, what's right and what's wrong. I should have mentioned when I was sort of like dropping hints at the security guard, there was this woman watching me. I think she's a local councillor. She's just staring at me suspiciously over the top of her glasses like that, and going, just staring at me like that, going, what's going on here? So
I think I probably wouldn't have been allowed to hang around anyway. I don't know, but it seemed like it's pretty public. But it's going to be close, that's for sure. I'm just sort of really feeling. I'm feeling a bit pessimistic. I mean, it's this. The European project is just too important to let the people decide, as Henry Kissinger said. And some way, one way or another, I mean, how can we possibly fight back against an enemy that plays so dirty like this? That just has all these resources at their disposal. How do we possibly do that? Oh God, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'll wake up in the morning and just see what it's like, and I just hope I'm wrong, but it's going to come down on a bloody Remain. It's all worked, the scaremongering, the Project Fear, murdering Joe Cox. And finally, as a last resort, they'll just diddle with the count, like they've done before. Like I did in Scotland, like I did in Ireland over the Lisbon Treaty, Scotland over their independence. On the subject of Scotland, I've got some good news actually. Well, it's good for me. I'm going away tomorrow morning early. This is why couldn't hang around at the town hall all night. I'm getting up at 5 in the morning because I'm going to Scotland tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to Bonnie, Scotland, because I'm attending the Scottish UFO and Paranormal Conference, and I'll be away all Saturday, coming back Sunday. And to be honest, I'm very, very glad, because if Remain get in, we're going to have to, and I'm hanging around here, I'm going to have to put up with watching Cameron coming on TV, standing outside number 10, smug as a bug in a rug, just gloating over what's happened. The people have decided. I think it was the right decision to bring out this referendum, and I have been proved right. The confidence that I have with the citizens of this nation has been reassured yet again. We can now move forward together, stronger and better, as part of this international, a strong player on the world stage, as part of our partners within the European Union. I won't put up with that. I won't have to listen to that shit. Well, unless I choose to go back and listen to a recording when I get home, which I probably won't. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm glad to be getting away from it all. I mean, either way, whatever happens, I'll be glad when this is over, quite frankly. It's just been too much. It's been too full of all this bullshit. It really has been awful. Oh, I'm just going to have to just stop the camera for a minute. I've just got to make some space. Yeah, what's going to happen is, if Remain win, which I think they will do, I was listening to this guy going, oh yeah, Remain's going to win. He was just so pessimistic, and I can't help thinking that he's right. I'm sorry to be a wet blanket, but I'm tired, and I just don't want to I can't cope with pinning any more false hopes on everything. Because things are going to go back to things. I say, well, then things will just go back to normal, and people forget about it, and we get on being a good, happy member state of the European Union. No. This is something that has always been an obstacle. The referendum, the in-out referendum, has always been an obstacle in this country ever since 1992. And in the master, it's always been they've never allowed us a referendum before, and people have called for one. Let the people decide, etc., etc. And Cameron and the various other prime ministers have never given us one. And now they have, and he's going to say, okay, I gave you what you want. I gave you the opportunity to choose, and you chose. And it's all full steam ahead. And all this stuff about no further political integration, he'll be able to cheat on that, and he'll wheedle his way around it like he always does. Give everything new names. Call it European monetary integration or European monetary harmonisation. That's what they call it. They won't call it the single currency. They'll say European. They'll say, well, a policy in Britain of European
monetary harmonisation, and they'll bring that in, and then we're keeping the pound, but we're just going to have this European monetary harmonisation. 6 months later, we're going to get the euro. You know it. Yep, he's going to keep on marching. He's marched through us, and he's just going to keep on marching. And of course, we're going to, as part of the European Union, as I've said before, we're entering a superstate which is due to be vastly restructured which I think in a move which is going to be extremely painful for many people. It's going to be extremely, for most people, it's going to be extremely painful. There is going to be a civil war in Europe, and I know it's going to be there because it's going to be engineered by the powers that be that control Europe. And this is what the migrant crisis is all about. The migrant crisis, which is supposedly refugees from Syria coming over to fleeing the civil war, is actually an industrialised movement of people on a scale we've never seen before since World War II. Between 3 and 4 million people have been moved into Europe in the space of a few months. Most of them have gone to Germany, and I think that's where it's going to kick off. The civil war is going to kick off in Germany. And when that happens, you see, the people, it's mostly young men aged 20 to 40, these refugees, and they're not all from Syria, they're from all over the place. And they're an army. I think they're an army. They're radicalised Muslims. They have a contempt for our way of life. They behave in an appalling manner towards our people, our women especially, and our culture and everything. And that's the idea. It's all part of the Kalergi plan. And there's going to be they are going to take a place. I mean, essentially, if you see 3 million foreign soldiers into your country, then you're asking for trouble. And Germany is where it's going to start. Germany is going to be devastated, but it's going to spread. It's going to spread to other places, and the plan is it's going to spread to Britain too. And if we're in the EU, I mean, even if we weren't in the EU, we wouldn't escape this civil war. But being in the EU is going to make it a hell of a lot worse. A hell of a lot worse. The reason for this civil war, now, this is where I disagree with a lot of people who say, oh, the government are just so weak and hand-wringing and wet and totally they're faint-hearted and lily-livered with liberalism and stuff like that, and so they just haven't got it in them to stop this tidal wave of migrants that's just moving in, and they're just too weak, and so the Muslims, the Muslim immigrants are the ones playing the active role, because they want to build a new caliphate, a global caliphate, and install Islam into Britain and Europe and take over Europe. And the politicians of Britain are too weak to stop them. That's not true. That's not what's going on at all. It's something completely different. What is going on is that the governments of Europe know exactly what they are doing when they bring in 3 to 4 million foreign fighters. They're doing it deliberately because they want the civil war. Do you really think they're really these sort of feeble people who are terrified of being called racist? Of course they're not. And the idea is not, the active role is not being played by these Muslim immigrants. They're not trying to build any caliphate. Some of them might do, but they're there to play a role in order to enslave themselves as well as us. Remember that the governments of the world, the Illuminati-controlled elite, have no preference for any particular race or any dislike for any particular race. We're all sheep, cattle to them. We're all farm animals to them, whether you're black or white, man or woman, gay or straight. And the civil war will give them the excuse to integrate the entire European Union under a single martial law plan. I think that's what's is coming. And at the moment, with the Remain coming in and winning, how can we stop it? How can we stop it? I think it's going to go further. I think at some point in the next couple of months, this is a prediction, mark my words, we are going to see the assassination of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is, of course, one of the candidates for the US presidency, and he is... The focus has gone on the camera. Hang on. Can you see me all right? Yeah. He is... he's a strange chap, because I mean he's not something. I mean I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but I do like him. He seems to be a genuine man. He's never been a politician. He's never been elected to Congress or the Senate. He's a businessman. He's a billionaire, and now he's running for president, and he's in the driving seat. Now, the reason I think he's going to die is because he's up against Hillary, and Hillary will want him out the way because Trump is so popular. Trump is going to. Trump has a chance of beating her, which means Trump is going to be killed. I don't know how it'll be. The traditional way for the Clintons is a plane crash, but it'll probably be something else, a heart attack or something. We're going to see the death of Donald Trump before the US presidential elections. If Trump wins, I mean, I think it'd be fun if he wins, because it would just make everything so exciting. Not that I like the guy or support him, but it would just make everything so... It would be such an upset. I don't believe he's an establishment candidate. The government don't control everything. They can't control everything. Yes, yes, no, up and down, left and right. They can't do that. They have to control things in a much more subtle manner. So we're going to see the assassination of Donald Trump, I think, and Hillary's going to be president. The Wicked Witch of the White House herself. Oh, so I mean, what's going to happen is when I upload this video, by the time you see this, I'll probably be on my way to Scotland or in Scotland, and you won't hear from me again until at least Sunday evening, when I will make another video. I'll probably make another video explaining my feelings and things like that, or I'll write something on the Panmo Voice blog. So keep an eye on her Panmo Voice blog as well, because I may just write something there instead of making a video. But what if we end up with a Leave win? If all the manipulation, all the crookedness, all the propaganda, all the fraud doesn't work, and we end up with a Leave victory, what then? It's possible. I mean, even if the Remains win, I mean, Nigel Farage is already talking about challenging the referendum in court because for some technicality over to do with the registration scheme. If that's possible. I mean, I don't want to give up all hope. I mean, if Remain comes, I mean, we're just... it'd be awful. But if Leave comes down, it would just be so exciting. It would just be such a thrill. It would be... Now, I'm under no illusions here, as I've explained before. I know not only is a Leave vote not an automatic exit from the European Union, but the Leave vote is not even exiting from the European Union wouldn't be the end of the New World Order. It wouldn't be the end of our world. It wouldn't be, we're leaving now, thank goodness. No, not at all. No, I understand that. But it just maybe, Britain voting in this referendum to leave the European Union could be the beginning of the end. It could just be the beginning of the end. I mean, just if only, what if? It could just be... It could be the first thing, that 100th monkey moment, as I explained, I think, before, in the previous film, that 100th monkey moment, whereby that's when everything for the New World Order starts to unravel, because, to be honest, I just cannot keep going on, watching things getting worse and worse and worse, and someone always saying, or hearing myself say, continuously, it's okay. The night is always darkest before the dawn. Someday soon things are going to start to get better. They're going to get better. We just got to keep plodding on. How much longer can I keep doing that? How long will my patience last? Because right now, it's only the last couple of days my emotional investment in this issue has really hit home. But how much this means to me. so much want us to have a Leave victory. I really do, because then it'll just be. I mean, supposing I'm heading off to Scotland, I'll probably know by the time I leave more or less what's happening. Because the results will probably come in about 4 in the morning. I'll be up then. I'll see. I will whoop with joy. I'll sing Rule Britannia walking up and down the street. I'll walk into the coach station. I'll be delighted. Because the weekend then will be so much happy. I'll be happy because I'll be away. But I'll be able to come. I'll be coming back. I'll be away to enjoy it, and then I'll be coming back, and I'll be making a very, very different video, or writing a very different article to the one I was going to write. It would just be such fun if we get a Leave vote. It just imagine the look on Cameron's face. He'd probably resign actually, but then we'd have Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, which would probably be almost as bad. And I mean, I keep saying, I went to see David Icke. I've got a video of me, David Icke, actually, which I'll upload at some point. I haven't been able to do it for a while, I haven't had time. But I went to see David Icke last week with me and Estain and Tiberius Kirk and a couple of other people went to see David Icke live. It was brilliant, it's great. Fantastic. But David's the eternal optimist. It's always, things are about to get better for David all the time. Things are about to improve. You know, it's okay, you know, it's almost over. We're reaching the point where there's going to be great change. But please, when will this happen? Please. Please, universe, just please let this happen. Let this be it. Please, I mean, I just want something good to happen, which indicates it's just something tangible and real, which says things, the tide is turning. David wrote this book, The Turning of the Tide, all these years ago. Please, can't we just see something that will be the turning of the tide? And a Leave vote for this referendum would be it. It would be the perfect one. I know it's not the bloody... I know it's not everything, I really do, but please, please, please. Give us this. Oh. Anyway, I'm going to have to get to bed because I'm heading off for Scotland tomorrow morning. And what I'll do is I'll take my camera with me. I'll do some filming in Scotland, and it'll be nice to take my mind off it. Because the good thing is, if it is Remain, I won't go into. You know, I wasn't going to Scotland. I'd be a miserable shitbag. I really would. I really would. I probably couldn't. Oh God, it'd be awful. But this will take my mind off it. And if it's Leave, well. It'll be a very, very happy, even happier weekend, I'll tell you. So thanks for all your comments, guys, and thanks for everything, and thanks to everyone who voted Leave. And I just want this so badly. I really do. I feel so passionate about it. I didn't realise I'd feel this way actually until maybe just yesterday or the day before. But I couldn't. Just to think what would happen if we were to leave. Maybe I'll try and visualise it, just create it, as they say, manifest, you know, all that sort of thing. Power of suggestion, power of manifestation. Rule, but yes. Anyway, I'm off to bed. Thanks for watching. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, stop the New World Order.